Okay, I hope everyone can see this. This is the beginning of the Common App. And yes, your future starts here. So if you have a new student, they're going to go up here and click and create an account. But I've already been in before, so I'm just going to go ahead and sign in. Your student will be a first-year student, and they just put in their email and a quick password. I truly think the majority of my life is trying to find passwords or resetting passwords. Okay, so here we are. This is the Common App, and you can see the tabs across the top. What I want you to do first is just notice that all of the directions are right here, and all of the help is down here on the right side. I mean, come on. Read the manual, right? All of the stuff is right here. But what I know about kids that I work with, because I work with over 30 seniors right now, one-on-one, is that they don't read everything, right? They want it fast and they want it there. So I'm going to show you how to take those shortcuts. But if you get confused, just know that the Common App is one of these apps that actually has a great help desk, and all of the information that you could ever possibly need is right over here to the right. So I want you to start here with just the basic common application. I'm going to move quickly because I don't want to waste your time, and you can always come back and watch this again. Look over here. You've got a profile, family, education, testing, activities, and writing. That is the core of the Common App. That is what is commonly going to go to all of these other schools. So I have my name in here, right? I'm not going to dwell on it. My address, my contact details, my demographics, my language, my nationality, and a Common App fee waiver. What is that? If you've gotten a fee waiver, you know what it is. If you don't have a fee waiver, then your answer to this is no, right? It's just a free waiver to waive any fees when you're going through this process. So this is just very basic profile. Then we go into family. You're looking at your household. We were a divorced family. I am an expert in divorced families. And if I can give you guys some advice just over on my soapbox, the best thing you can do for your kids is to just get along and do what you need to do in this college process, because it can turn an expensive ride into a less expensive ride. And it can also just turn a stressful relationship into a really positive relationship, because you're celebrating your kid that you made together. So if you have any questions and you're from a divorced family, I do specialize in that, and I know how to maximize anything that we can. So I just hope that you're kind to one another for the value of your children, right? Parent one, parent two, and siblings. Totally easy. You just hit continue. It goes to the next spot. Not too tough, right? Hit continue again. They're just gathering information. One thing I want you to know is that this common application is for people of all ages. So some questions might not feel like they're relevant to you, but they might be relevant to someone from overseas. They might be relevant to someone who's older and coming back to college. So don't get too hung up on the question. If you don't know the answer, it probably wasn't relevant to you. So my kids went to Severna Park Senior High School. So I went ahead and put that in here, but you can always change it. You put your school in, date of entry. Did you graduate from the school? When did you complete it? Now, some people will graduate early, late, take time off, or take a gap year. All of that is personal to you. With your education, did you attend any other schools? There's kids who attend 2, 3 high schools, right? Because they might be traveling, they might be military. So put in the information. They're asking for it just because they want it. They're not asking for it because there's a right or wrong answer. Colleges and universities, where did you go? I put in here Howard County Community College, that a credit was awarded directly by the college. All of this, I did not get a degree, right, is put in here. With your students, if they're doing what's called dual enrollment, what does that mean? That means they're in high school and they're taking a community college course. That's called dual enrollment. You want to indicate that here. That's very different than a student who's already graduated from high school and then is in the community college. That is not dual enrollment. That is moving on to your freshman year. So this is for dual enrollment. And if your students have taken a class, you want to fill out this part. Okay, they probably didn't get a degree because they were doing it while they were in high school. Grades. They really want to know the size of your class, right? And do they rank? Some schools don't do rankings. A lot of Howard County high schools aren't even doing class rank anymore. You can do it also exact, like first in the class, second in the class, third in the class, or a decile, top 10%, top 20%, or a quintile, top quarter, top half, etc. Right? You want to go ahead and put in your rank. And I'm just going to tell you right now, I think I've made myself very smart. This is a fake student. So I probably made myself a little smarter than I am. Class rank goes here. And then if the rank based on weighted or unweighted grading. All right, I'm going to take a second here just to explain this super quick. We did a talk on this last week in the private group. Weighted grading. How do you do that? How does a kid get a 4.6? When we were growing up, we got a 4.0. That was it. That was straight A's. Well, honors courses are on a 4.5 scale and AP classes are on a 5.0 scale. That's why you can weight those grades up, right? So a weighted GPA is when you take those honors or those AP classes and you get a little extra boost in your GPA. So you want to go ahead and put what yours is. Of course, I was, my grading scale was a 4.0. Why do they have all these other numbers? Because again, they're dealing with kids from, and grownups from all over the country, all different countries across the world, and their grade scales may be different. But for the most part, ours is going to be a 4.0 scale. And I said that I have an unweighted ranking and an unweighted cumulative GPA of 3.8. Really interesting. It feels good to put a 4.6 down here. It feels really, really good. And like you're way smarter than everybody else. But at the end of the day, a lot of times the colleges level the playing field and take the 5 core classes and redo your GPA. What are the 5 classes? English, math, science, social studies, and foreign language. So lots of different states, other schools will recalculate your GPA. So the bottom line is just put in here what it is, because there's a good chance it's going to be changed by the school itself. Okay. Don't get wrapped around the axle on that. Just everything needs to be honest and right, because transcript is king and they're going to use the transcript to compare to this. And they're going to assume you're telling the truth. But if you get accepted and then they go back and fact check and you didn't, you can lose your ability to get in. Most recent courses, you have to put all of these courses in. Oh, this is my least favorite thing to do, but you can go ahead and add all of your classes in if you're on a semester, trimester, quarter. Put the class in. What is the subject, right? What is the name of the class? What is the level of the class? And when did you take it? You want to go ahead and fill out. That's for the current year. What is that? The senior year. You're going to put this in. If I have juniors on here, can you fill out the Common App this year? Absolutely. Go for it. But there's a piece of it that you're not going to want to do, and I'll share with you later. Right now, the seniors are the class of 23, juniors are class of 24, but you can put in this basic information. Here's something I want you to remember, the honors section. Honors are academic achievements. It says it right here, academic achievements. That is going to be like National Honor Society, honor roll athlete, Spanish Honor Society. Those are the things that you received based on your academic prowess, okay? It's not an activity or what you did when you were in National Honor Society. This is the honor itself. And that is what goes in honors. You just click down here and add another one. And if you want to move them around, you certainly want to put them in the order of wow, right? Wow. If you were principal's honor roll in your freshman year, that's great. But I would rather know that you were principal's honor roll for all 4 years. And that is going to trump it. You're going to move that up to the top. And these little arrows move things around. Super easy. Community-based organizations. If you're in one, you know that you are in one. Okay. And these are organizations that help you with the college process. Most of the people on this call may not have one. If you have a question about that, you can go ahead and ask me. Future plans. All right. I love this. I said I was going to be an actor or entertainer, and I was going to go to get my doctorate. Listen, it's a drop down. You can put anything you want. Those of you who are going to stick around later, I've got some super tips about this section that you're going to want to know. But just be straightforward and let them know what you want to do. And if you only want to become, and I don't mean to say only, but you just want your bachelor's, rock on. That's fine. They just want to know. There are no right answers. Now we've moved from profile family education to testing. Wow. In this day and age, standardized testing is all over the place, right? Can you go test optional? Should you show your scores? Are you in the middle 50% of that school where you're applying? Gosh, there's just so many different things to think about. I want you to think about a couple things. One, for the past few years, it's been test optional. So the only kids who are showing their scores are the ones who got high scores. Therefore, the average, SAT or ACT score is going to be elevated a little because the kids who didn't get high scores didn't share their scores. Therefore, the middle is going to be much higher than it should be. So those are a little elevated, and we'll see how that shakes out over the next couple of years. But you want to know if you are going to be self-reporting your scores. What does that mean? Well, everybody wants to make a buck, right? Whenever you send your official scores to a college, it's cost you money. So what they've done on the Common App is said, hey, self-report it. Tell us that you made a 1250. And then when we let you in, we'll fact check it and you have to prove it. That way you don't have to spend money to send that 1250 to all 8 schools that you're applying to. You can self-report it, and then they'll go back and you have to prove it once you've been accepted to the college. So that's one nice little money saver. Don't get caught up in, oh my gosh, I took the SAT, I have to send it to 5 schools. Unless you know you're going to apply and you know you're going to do well, just hang back, right? The tests you want to report, and then the ones you expect to take in the future. We all know there's one coming up, I think this weekend, as far as the SAT goes. And then there's another one in October. Those of you who have the digital one is September. Will you get your scores back by the time you apply? You know what? We're talking about the early round right now. Everybody, I want you to know there's a regular round that starts after the new year or right around the holidays, right? So we're basically gunning right now for the early round. Some schools will let you send your scores in after, but you know what? The early round is there for a reason, because you were ready early. And if you're sitting around waiting for a score, that means you might not have been ready early, right? All right, just going to go through this. I don't mean to sound snarky, just trying to keep you guys engaged. All righty, activities. This is one of my favorite parts, okay? And those of you who are going to stick around later, and we're going to go live in our private group, Parents of College-Bound Teens Application Blueprint. I'm going to show you some tips and tricks about this, but you can put up to 10 activities in, right? I have kids who've gotten into MIT with 5 activities. There is no reason to fill this up. Think about it. You're going to have about 7 minutes in front of an admissions officer. Don't fill this up with a bunch of dribble. Don't do it. Do stuff that has wow, put it in the order of wow. Do the most recent first and then drop down. Here are the categories: arts, clubs, community engagement, family responsibilities. Colleges want to know what you do with your free time. And if you're driving your little brother all around to karate practice, this, that, and the other, that means you're responsible. And that is a worthy thing to do in your free time. You don't need to split atoms in your free time to get into college, maybe to get into MIT, but not to get into college. Hobbies, sports, volunteering, and other experiences. So you say, yes, you have some things you want to report, and you pop them in. Here's one. You can do the drop down here. Here's athletics club, athletics, JV and varsity. Was it a career-oriented thing? Was it an internship, community service? There's lots of different things that you can put your activities under, and you can kind of get excited about this as you look through, because I would venture to say your parents are going to remember way more cool things that you did than you will. So this should be a family affair. The position and the description is kind of what your title was. And you have 50 characters to describe that. So don't just put volunteer, right? See if you can add a little bit to that. Then they want to know the organization name. And then you have 150 characters, not words, to explain what you did. That is hard. If you use full sentences and said, I was the, you're wasting characters. We just want to know the oomph. What did you do? Use action words and explain what you did. You pop in the grades that you did it, when you did it during the school year, school break. And then this part, it's so hard because kids don't always remember, but how many hours per week did you spend? And how many weeks per year? If you spent 3 weeks per year and 5 hours each week, that's okay. Don't minimize it and think it's not important. It's important, okay? It was an activity and it's part of who you are. Do you intend to participate in a similar activity in college? Who knows? If you're sure you are, say yes. If you're not, doesn't matter. But if you're in student government and you plan to participate in college, then that is a point for you, because that might be the kind of student that college is looking for, someone who wants to go into student government or leadership. So you can continue to add activities. Again, you can use the arrows to move things up and down. You want to put them in the order of wow, and you can put in up to 10, but you certainly don't need to fill it up. That doesn't mean that you have a better chance. Just put in stuff that has depth, not breadth, right? Think of the things you did that are meaningful. And then this gets us to my favorite part, which is writing. This is the personal essay. In the Common App, it's 650 words. In the Coalition app, I believe it's 500 words. And in the Texas and the California app, they do different. They do like 4 questions and personal evaluation questions. So it's important to read the fine print. There are 7 prompts you can pick from. You can read these and see if any of them prompt you to tell this college who you are, what happened, why it matters, and who you're going to be because of it. That's the umph. I don't really care that much about the prompt. I want you to share with the college who you are, how you got to be where you are, and what that means when you're moving forward. What are you going to do when you're at that school? Are you going to be an active participant? Are you going to be an activist? Are you going to be a joiner? Are you going to start a club? Are you going to join a club? Are you going to just really dive deep into your engineering because you want to build a better bike helmet because you had a concussion one time and you don't want anyone else to ever have a concussion? There are no rules to this other than we want you to talk about you, not your grandmother, not your friend, not the game-winning pass. Who are you? How did this affect you? And who are you now? Once you have that perfect and you've read it all, and I'm going to give you a quick hint, say it out loud in a mirror, because your ears will catch what your eyes didn't, because you've been watching and reading the essay for so long. Read it out loud. You'll trip over the parts that aren't smooth. Then pop it in here and then read it again to make sure that when it transferred in, no extra funky characters popped in, right? Then you continue. Here is where you have choices. There are 2 additional essays you can use. One is disruptions about COVID. Look, it inconvenienced all of us, right? But if COVID happened in your family and it really inconvenienced your family, then you can write about it. I have a student who was a star football player. His mom had an autoimmune disease. He had to stay home even when it was an option to go to school and to go to football practice. He couldn't go. He had to quit football because of his mom's issues, right? So that is worthy of putting into this section. Other than that, don't fill it up. There's no reason to make somebody read more in the Common App. One other section is, do you wish to provide details that are not reflected in the application? This too really doesn't need to be filled out very often. But if you want to explain one bad year, not because of COVID, everybody had one bad year because of COVID, but something that might have happened to you that shows a divot in your trajectory, or something that happened that you really need to explain, that's where you put this here. The last section is courses and grades. And my prayer for you is that none of your schools require this. It's basically rewriting your transcript. It's super easy. You have to put in every class you ever took and every grade you ever got. Some schools require it and some don't. Again, I hope none of your schools require it. It just seems odd to me that they get the transcript and you still have to write it out, but it is what it is. Guess what? Now you're done with the Common App. You have filled out all of this stuff about yourself. So that's the Common App, okay? It's going to attach to Naviance or Maya, whatever your school uses. That's going to pull your transcripts in and your teacher recommendations. All of that's going to go in there and it's going to travel to the schools. So how do you add the schools? Well, again, you want to look up here across the top. You can do a college search and you can add a school that you are planning to apply to. So I'm going to add Appalachian State. Why? Well, because I just had my niece go there, and I'm so excited for her. It's a beautiful school, very outdoorsy. It's gorgeous, and has a lot of amazing programs, including nursing and hospitality, and just really cool school. So I'm going to add App State to my school, to my list, add to my colleges. And then, I'm also going to add, let's see, I'm going to go to Harvey Mudd. You guys might say, who the heck is Harvey Mudd? Well, it's one of the most selective colleges in the country. It's part of a consortium in California called the Claremont Colleges, and it's Pomona, Claremont McKenna, Harvey Mudd, Scripps, all together. So I'm going to add that just because it's kind of an outlier. Once I've added these colleges where I plan to apply to my list, they go over here to my colleges. Here's the deal. Each college is separately applied to through the Common App. You have your common information, but if you're going to go to Appalachian State, you can send it all. Then you can go back to the Common App and change anything if you need to. Like, let's say your deadline isn't until December 1st, and in the first semester of senior year, you become president of your class. You're going to need to change your activities to show that. So then you're going to change up the Common App, and for every school after that, that will go. Okay. So each school, each application is individual. So I go to my colleges. We're going to start with App State. It's basically a review. It tells you about the school. It tells you when you can apply and when the deadlines are. You need to be keen on this. You need to know that early action or regular decision or rolling, what are these dates? You need to know what each of those things means. And if you go to AnnapolisCollegeConsulting.com and go to the blog, we have some articles that talk to you about the differences. You want to look at scholarship and honors opportunities. Some schools look at scholarships and merit aid right with your application. Other schools require you to do additional work. It's up to you to read the fine print and know that. And often that's going to be right here. Okay, so at this school, if you want to be considered for the signature scholarships, you must submit your application and then submit additional stuff by November 15th, right? You don't want to miss that. You don't want to move in with your roommate and find out that they got this awesome scholarship that you didn't get only because you didn't apply, right? So you want to stay keen on all of this. All the information is right here. This is king. If information is different in any other place, out of your neighbor's mouth, on the website, whatever, the Common App is where you want to go. That is the baseline for the information. You're going to be $65, $55, and $75 to death. So think about it. You really shouldn't apply to more than 8 or 9 schools. I mean, you want to find schools where you really want to go. You don't want to just throw it out there and say, hey, why not? If I don't apply, if I don't try, I'll never get in. Come on, look at the scores. Look at the schools, the students who got in there from last year. Look at your scattergram from your school. Do you really stand a chance? Is that a group of kids where you want to thrive? Then yes, apply. If not, and you're just throwing a Hail Mary, just don't do it. Don't waste anybody's time, right? Everybody shouldn't apply to Harvard, right? There's reasons why people want to go there. And if it's you, rock on. I'm really proud of you. I'm just as proud of you if you go to, Anne Arundel Community College, because there's nothing saying you're not going to still light the world on fire. Here's their standardized testing policy. They talk about whether or not they use that horrible Corset and grades thing I talked about. This school needs a school report, a final report, teacher evaluations. None are required, 3 are optional. All of this will connect through Maya or the Naviance, so you need to make sure those are connected. That's where you request your recommenders and they pop in. Okay, writing requirements, college questions. I kind of ignore that and I go back up here and I go to questions. They're going to ask you, when do you want to start, right? Fall, spring. Which admissions plan do you want? Early action, regular decision, rolling. You need to know what those mean. Are you going to show your test scores? Yes or no, right? You go in and you'll answer these questions for every school. I'm only going to do App State as an example. How do you wish to pursue your degree? Well, I want to be on the main campus, not online. What's your intended major? Some schools ask for it, some schools don't. You need to do the research to know what is your intended major and why, and what classes you have to take, and what are other options, right? Everybody wants to go into biology or engineering or psychology. Come on. Let's go a little deeper and see what the schools offer. Okay. So lots of majors here. Oh, that looked fun. Let's see. I am going to go into criminal justice. I think that sounds super cool. I'm not from North Carolina. And I'm going to continue. Each school, when we do this, is different. So the Common App is common, goes everywhere. Then each school you plug into asks for additional information about your family, residency, disciplinary information, and an interest statement. I don't know what that is. We're going to look. Oh, look at that. They want to build global citizens who understand and engage and think critically. So this school is asking you to describe why you are interested in attending. This is one of the hardest questions you're ever going to answer. Why Appalachian State? You better know. They'll see through it if you don't. Know why you want to go there. Is it a professor? Is it a program? Is it a friend who told you how great it was? Did you go to the campus and just notice the way the kids were sitting in groups in the green grass and studying, and everybody was outside and hiking and biking and active? What made you want to choose that school? And this is, I don't even know. Look here, 250 word max. You're going to have everything from short answer questions to 5 different essays, and every school is going to be different. And where are you going to find that? You're going to find it right here. Then you're going to go to recommenders and FERPA. I recommend that you release your authorization, which means you don't need to read your recommendations before they go to the school. That's kind of like just what everybody does. If you want to read them, don't release your FERPA. But I think the schools look at it as you don't want to have the ability to pick and choose your recommenders. You wanted to ask them, and then they automatically just go to the school. You continue through there. It'll show you everything you have or haven't done. And then you can't apply until you pull out your credit card and pay that fee. Some people will have fee waivers. There's a place to put that in. Just to show you an example of Harvey Mudd, I'm going to go to questions for Harvey Mudd and scroll down to writing. This is a really highly selective school. They're going to have a little bit more writing. Okay. They're going to have something about your background. That's 150 to 500 words. Some is talking about your interests and what you want to learn in these classes. So each school is going to ask different things. Some ask nothing. Some schools will allow you to add a resume. Some don't. Don't add a resume if it doesn't tell me more than things that were already on the Common App. If your resume is just a mirror image of what you put in the Common App, I'm a recommender. I mean, I'm an admissions officer. I have 7 minutes. Don't make me scan that piece of paper. Right? You just really want to let them get to it, because in that first round, it's going to usually be your admissions rep and another reader. Every school does it differently, and it's going to be super quick. You want to get through that first round. You want everything to be clear, concise, right there for you. And then, of course, you can get ready and submit. So that, ladies and gentlemen, is the Common Application. That's all you have to do. If you want more information, there are financial aid resources. This is a great site. It has everything you need to plan for college, and financial aid. It'll explain a lot of things to you. But I hope that that was helpful. I have one question here. It says, if you apply on the Common App, do you have to submit to schools scores to all of your schools, or can you choose not for some? Yes. Every school, you have a choice to send your tests or not. I hope that that makes sense. So each school, you determine whether you're going to send your test scores. So let's say I got a 1200, and that's right in the range of most of the schools where I'm applying. But there's a school where really the median is like 1350. I might not send my scores there. In the past, you had to send your scores anyway. But now we have this like test optional thing. So you can make that decision. So it's school by school. Also, if a school super scores, they're going to automatically super score. You don't have to do the math. If you send 3 SAT scores, if they super score, their reader is going to get that super score, the best English, or the best English and reading, and the best math. And that will just happen. There's a few schools that see all of your scores, like Georgetown. So you want to tread lightly and not just take the thing 100 times. After 3 times, it's the law of diminishing returns. So don't just have your kid keep testing and testing and testing and testing. Also, there's the ACT, and schools don't care which one you take. So I hope that was helpful. I have another question. Yay, I love answering questions. This one says, are you familiar with SARS application that Rutgers requires? Yeah, every student will have to fill that out. It's just the students, you're just confirming the classes you took. So even though this is the Common App, there's going to be a couple other steps that some schools will ask you for. And the SARS is one of the things. It's not a big deal. It's pretty much the same information. You're just giving it to them a little bit differently. And it's very, very common. Anybody else? Okay. Well, again, I'm Lee with Annapolis College Consulting. We are a one-on-one independent college consulting firm, but I just started something called the Application Blueprint because I wanted to get good information to more families. If you're interested in that, I'd love to send you information. You can go to the Application Blueprint public page, and that'll give you information on how to get to the private page. It's $29 a month. You can stop or start whenever you want, but our curriculum is starting in 2 weeks, and we're going to take you through the whole school year. Whether you're a freshman, sophomore, junior, senior, we give great information. I go live every Monday. We have guests that come in and talk. It's a really good bang for your buck. If you need some of the services that you hear about, you can certainly connect directly with those people. But my mission was I wanted to get good information to more people. And if any of you know students or families who need this good information and can't afford it, because $29 might be too much for some people, and they might have a genius in their house that could change their family's trajectory, I have no problem grandfathering them in for free. So that's AnnapolisCollegeConsulting.com/application-blueprint. Okay. Maybe I'll just type that in right now. So I have another question here. Can the Common App be used to apply to a service academy? All right, that's a great question. Service academies to me are off the table. They're a completely different beast. So we would have to talk about that offline. So there's some that you can, and there's some that you can't. But typically you're going to apply to more than just a service academy. So go ahead and fill out that Common App, and then let's do it right now. We'll add the Naval Academy and we'll see what happens. And the next one was, does the app give information on potential or approximate cost for tuition based on the schools a kid applies to? All right, so every school now has to have what is called a net price calculator. You can go on there. Each one is different. Each one is for that school, and they should be able to get you to what the price for you should be. Okay. You should be able to get in the ball game. The FAFSA overall is the proxy for federal need-based aid, but the FAFSA also gives you your student aid index, or what used to be called expected family contribution. And a lot of times the institution will use that number too. Like, let's say you get into Harvard. If you're good enough to get into Harvard and the government says you can afford $30,000 a year, then that's it. Even if you can't, the government said it, right? Harvard 77. Well, Harvard fills 100% of that gap. So that $47,000 they're going to give to you. So don't not fill out the FAFSA because you think you won't, qualify. You might not qualify for a Pell Grant or federal aid, but you might qualify for state aid, and you might qualify for institutional aid. There are institutions that are very wealthy and have huge endowments and are willing to help families. But merit aid is more the discount off of tuition based on the quality of your application. That's what we used to call scholarships. Now it's called merit aid, and that's based on the quality of your application, your GPA, your test scores, your activities, your teacher recs, and your essay. That's the proxy for merit aid. The proxy for financial aid, need-based aid, is always going to be the FAFSA. Let's see. Nope. Oh, goodness. Let's see. Air Force. No. So the answer is no. Listen, my answer to every question is always, it depends. I was not quite sure. I usually take kids who want to go to a service academy and take them directly through the service academy's portal. Every school you apply to, sure, you can use the Common App. But if you're a student that really just only wants to apply to Mizzou, just go and apply to Mizzou on their own website. If you want to apply to Ole Miss, it's open right now. Go and apply to Ole Miss right on their website with their application. No one's forcing you to use the Common App. It's just kind of a unique way to get your information to more schools. Let's see. Can colleges see my resume on Naviance if linked to the Common App? No. Nope. They cannot. But why are you worried about it? So that would be the answer to that. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Come on over and visit us at Application Blueprint. Tell your friends. We're only going to once a month do something that goes live to the people. But right now I'm going to go live in our private group and tell them a couple fun hacks to make their common application look not so common. All right. Again, I'm Lee Norwood. Thanks for being here. I really appreciate it. You made my night. Have a great one.